Hello people, my name is Mutombo and today I'm going to be answering questions that you sent in on Instagram and on my YouTube community tab. For those who are new here, before we get into these questions, I'm just going to give a brief background about me. I am a Cameroonian and I'm currently doing my Masters of Engineering at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. Alright, so I have the questions here and I managed to gather them into 3 categories: general questions about me, my background and such, future plans, and questions about my life as a creative. Well, some of these questions are going to interlap, so please, these categories are not very strict. So let's get right into the general questions. The first question, and my favorite question, is why are you so fine? The answer is God. I forgot to ask you guys if you would prefer to remain anonymous or if you would like me to call out your names as I read out the questions. But my personal preference when I send in these questions for other YouTubers is that I remain anonymous. Like, not everybody is supposed to know that that is what I asked you, you know? So I'm going to keep this anonymous. What is your name? My name is Mutombo. I don't know why people find this name so difficult to pronounce. I've heard all sorts of derivatives of this name. Mutumba, Mutambo, Matumba. I don't know, it's just Mutombo. It's very simple. Repeat after me. Mutombo. But somebody else asked, what is your English name? What is wrong with Mutombo? What is wrong with my traditional name? Anyway, my English name is Peros. What is your tribe? Well, I identify with 2 different tribes because my parents come from 2 different tribes which aren't very far from each other. On my father's side, I hail from Bafanji, Ngoketunja division in the northwest region of Cameroon. And on my mother's side, I am Mendankwe, which is in Mezam, which is also in the northwest region of Cameroon. So I am a pure northwest girl. How many siblings do you have? I have 12 siblings. What's the beauty in having siblings? Well, there's so many beautiful things about coming from a big family or having lots of siblings, but one thing that I really love about having siblings is having somebody or people that you can talk about your parents with. You can rant and complain, and at least you and your siblings understand that no matter what, you always love your parents. But with people from outside, they tend to forget that those are still your parents, and sometimes they can actually get disrespectful and turn those things around on you. What/who inspired you to have a YouTube channel? Honestly, I've always been taking videos of myself right from the first time I ever touched a laptop that had a webcam. I can actually produce vlogs of my life from 5 years ago just from the footage that I have from, the past. So with or without YouTube, I'm always going to be filming myself. And I just decided to bring it onto YouTube because I realized that here on YouTube I can actually make something concrete of it. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self? Okay, at 18, I wasn't doing too bad. I knew my priorities. I think I was quite level-headed. But I will go back and tell that girl that 18 is not the age to be getting lost in serious relationships. No. At 18, I was in the first year of university, and that was the time that I was really getting to know myself, out of boarding school on my own, away from my parents, and that was definitely not the time to lose myself in super serious relationships. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I regret any of my relationships because I've actually dated some really awesome guys, but I'm just saying that I wish at 18 I had understood that so much of my identity didn't have to be tied up to a guy, tied up in a relationship. But then again, I really love the person that I am today, and I don't think I would have built the character that I have now if anything had been different in the past. So when it comes all the way around, I guess I have nothing to tell my 18-year-old self. Why did you decide to leave Cameroon and go to grad school at UCT? Well, I wanted to do my master's in telecommunications, and all the accredited schools that offer a master's degree in telecommunications in Cameroon were offering the program in French. And the program actually took you up to this level called Master 1, which I honestly don't understand. Like, I've never understood the French system of education. I actually tried to go to school in Europe, but that didn't work out for me. And that entire process really stressed me out. And I was like, wait, why am I trying to go to Europe? What's wrong with Africa? I just took out my laptop and googled best university in Africa, University of Cape Town. So I said, okay, let's go there. What other languages do you speak? I speak English, French, and Pidgin. I don't know if Pidgin English is officially recognized as a language because it varies from country to country, but what did you study before grad school? Well, I did my undergraduate degree in telecommunications. I specialized in telecommunications, and telecommunications falls under electrical engineering. So before I am a telecommunications engineer, I am an electrical engineer, and I'm currently doing my master's in telecommunications. I think there is a better way that I could have put that sentence because it sounds very confusing now that I think about it, but please just take that. Is dating difficult in Cape Town? Honestly, I would say yes, because back in Cameroon, people will always walk up to me, guys will always approach me, but here nobody has time for me, nobody even looks at me twice, and I'm like, wait, I'm just like a fly passing by people's ears, like but then again, I don't put myself out there a lot. I don't go anywhere apart from school, the grocery store, and home. So I guess I'm also not making it easy. And also, I think online dating is also a bit of a norm here, because I see that so many people have Tinder and all the dating apps, but I'm not on any of them just because I'm not looking for a date. On a scale of 1 to 10, how tough of a decision was it to leave your job and go to school in South Africa? I would say it was a 4. It was not too difficult because I always knew that I wanted to work for a few years and then go back to get my master's degree. But I would say it was very difficult because I was living at a time when I was actually being considered for a promotion, and that would have been, very good for my career, but it was either now or never. Who is your favorite African YouTuber? My goodness. Honestly, this is actually a very difficult question to answer, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a list in the description box or in a pinned comment on all the African YouTubers that I watch and genuinely enjoy. Not for the sake of promotion, not for the sake of supporting your own. I mean people that I genuinely enjoy watching and I will always go back to watch their videos. I'm going to leave that list and the links in the description box or in a pinned comment so that you can check them out after you finish watching this video. Don't click out. What is your definition of a decent woman or wife material? Honestly, my definition of a decent woman is the same as my definition of a decent man. My definition of wife material is the same as my definition of husband material. So let's call this spouse material because I think it applies to both genders. Okay, so for me, first and foremost, they have to have the love of God in them as well as the fear of the Lord in them. I just feel that if you have the fear of the Lord in you, you will not be moving mad anyhow. There are certain things that the Holy Spirit himself will tell you, no, don't do that, or yes, do that. Also, I think that a big part of spouse material is being able to meet each other halfway and sometimes to completely put the other person before you. So in a nutshell, I think being God-fearing, being able to compromise, and being willing to completely sacrifice your wants and desires for the sake of the other person will make you a good spouse, whether it is a good husband or a good wife. And I really think if both partners have these 3 traits, then it's not going to feel like much of a burden to either party. It's going to be a balance. For me, both husbands and wives should have those qualities. 2 things in your bucket list would be bucket list Guinea. I think I'd like to visit all the continents. Another thing on my bucket list. Why is this so difficult to think of? I've lost my sense of adventure. If you had asked me this 7 years ago, I'd have produced a long list for you. But life has just quenched my sense of adventure. Is there anybody that I really want to meet in this life? I mean, through the internet, I've met everybody. Do you like Eliza? Okay, I said I wasn't going to call names, but I'm going to call the name of the person who put this question here. And it's my sister Eliza. I love you, but this is my show. It's not for you to come and make this about you. It's about me. I'm the star of this show. So you can't come to my Q&A and make it about you. But yes, I love you. What do you do for fun? I actually love exploring the city. Whether it's with people or alone, well, I've mostly done it alone because sometimes I'll just take an Uber and drop myself in town and then just walk around town looking at places. I'll go to the waterfront, just stare at places, look, explore, eat, and those are the things that I genuinely enjoy doing. Even back when I was working in Douala, sometimes after work I would just go round town, just go around Aqua aimlessly, doing nothing, just walking and just looking at places, just taking note of where things are. I like going around town. I also like watching movies. Have you got children? No. Have you got a boyfriend, a husband? Are you in a relationship? What's your relationship status? Are you dating anyone? Lots of relationship questions. No, I don't have a husband. Yes, I have a boyfriend. Yes, I'm in a relationship. Will you ever share or have your significant other come on your channel if he wishes to? Okay, I'll tell you what. When we get engaged, we'll do a sit-down video. I think that's fair. That's fair. And of course, it's going to start appearing in the vlogs. Why did you cut your hair? Oh, I wanted to keep it natural and just let it grow into this big afro. Do you sometimes feel the pressure to settle down and have a family and kids? No. One thing that I'm really grateful about with my parents is they have never ever pressured me into, oh, when are you bringing us a man? Oh, when are you? No. And I don't think they'll ever pressure me into that, honestly. And the thing with me is, if my parents and those who really matter to me are not pressuring me, then the pressure from society would not get to me. It really does not matter what society thinks. As long as I'm okay with where I am at and those around me are fine too, then... So far, what is the biggest lesson you've learned about life? Just because you do things in a certain way doesn't mean everybody else does things in that same way. Just because you think in a certain direction doesn't mean everybody else thinks in that direction. All right, let me give you a very simple example of what I mean. If you are the type of person who would use a public toilet and do your best to leave that toilet in the best condition possible for the next person to come and use, know that not everybody has the mind to take the next person into consideration. If you have been brought up to understand that when you take a bottle of water from the fridge, you pour it into a glass and you drink from the glass, know that there are other people who have been brought up to understand that when they take water from the fridge, they can drink straight from the bottle. So don't go and open somebody else's fridge and take their bottle of water thinking that you are not going to be drinking somebody else's saliva because you drink saliva. So I think my point has been made. Just know that not everybody treats situations the same way you do, and you have to adapt to these various personalities and handle them accordingly. Were you a Stofong in Lourdes? Tell the truth. Okay, so for context, Lourdes is actually Our Lady of Lourdes College, Mancon, and that is the secondary and high school that I went to. It's a boarding school, it's an all-girls school, it's a Catholic school, and honestly, I would say it's a prestigious school. Yeah, Lourdes is a prestigious school. Come for my neck. A Stofong is basically an A student, somebody who does well in school and, you know, has good grades and all of that. And yes, I was a Stofong in Lourdes. Yes. Do you drink alcohol? In one of my previous vlogs, I said I don't drink alcohol for now, and one of my friends came for me. She came for me so hard in the comments. For now, I don't drink alcohol. When I came to South Africa, I just decided that until I have this degree in the bag, no drop of alcohol is going to touch this tongue. And that's it. You're beautiful and you motivate me to keep my place clean and tidy. First of all, thank you very much. But I just want to say this is a really funny thing, because those who went to high school with me would not believe that I am this organized, because in boarding school I was all over the place. My things were always in disarray. I used to lose stuff all the time. It was my goodness, I was a mess. But I think that's just because now I am on my own schedule, you know. I'm not forced to do my laundry at a certain time, my ironing at a certain time. In Lourdes, all those things, there was a specific time for all those things to be done. And And I realized that I actually became more organized in high school because we became the ruling class and we had a bit more liberty to do things at our own convenience. So that made it easier for me to organize myself and put my things in order. And I really just became a neat freak when I went to university. It's like something just snapped and it was like, okay, now you have full control over everything. The only obligation that you have is the time that you have to be in class. But apart from that, you have full control of when you study, when you eat, when you tidy up, when you do your laundry, when you iron your stuff. So I found a system that works for me and I've just kept it ever since. And any tips on how to remain motivated in my research report? Girl, because of you and because of this question, I have compiled points on how to stay motivated with school and all of that, and I'm going to film a video specially for you on this particular topic. So please just give me a few weeks and that video will be out for you. But for now, I would say remember why you started. Go back to the drawing board and remember why you are doing what you are doing. Also, try to look ahead. Look at people who have gone before you. Look at your role models, especially people who have worked in the research field in which you are working. See what they have accomplished and just think of the possibility of you doing all of that and even more. And I think for now that can help boost your morale. Celebrity crush, male and female. Honestly, I don't really crush on celebrities. For the sake of this question, I will tell you one celebrity that I really admire. For female, that would be Beyonce. Not because of her beauty, not because of her body, not because of her wealth, because of one thing: her work ethic. I think that woman has phenomenal work ethic. She grinds and grinds and grinds and then grinds some more, and that's just something that I really admire. As for my male celebrity crush, any male celebrity who has shown that he has pushed through against all odds, you know, turned his situation around, I have deep respect and admiration for. So I'm so sorry that I can't give you any specific names, because honestly I can't think of any celebrity right now. I would like to know if you have ever questioned your self-worth at any point in time. Honestly, I would say no. Because one thing that my mother did for us when we were younger was she did her best to make us confident in who we are as individuals, but unfortunately, your parents' influence on you is not the only influence that you're going to have in your life. I've definitely come in contact with people who have really driven my confidence to 0 on 100. But because of the foundation that I have from my childhood, I always bounced back. For some reason, deep down, I always had a strong sense of self-worth. I honestly don't know if what I just said made any sense, but I hope that answered your question. What drives your passion in the telecommunications industry, and are you thinking of owning a media house? No, I'm not thinking of owning a media house. And my passion in the telecommunications industry just stems from the fact that I find the subject matter actually very interesting. The industry is constantly developing from generation to generation, from 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now the very controversial 5G. It's a field in which you are constantly challenged. What career spoke to you in your teens, and why engineering? Okay, when I was a teenager, from the age of about 12 to 14, I wanted to be a pilot. And when I told my parents that, they were just like, no. And then my mom told me, okay, you know what, you're not going to be a pilot, but the next best thing is to be an engineer, because engineers make all the tools and equipment that pilots use. So in other words, you are really being a pilot, you know. And I was like, you know what, that doesn't sound too bad. And that's just how the idea of engineering was planted in my mind. And I ended up doing my undergraduate degree in engineering. After that, I worked for almost 3.5 years in an engineering firm, and now I'm getting my master's of engineering. So what advice would you give to Cameroonian science teachers? I would say just break down the subject matter to as basic terms as possible, and then build upon that to get your students or pupils to the level that you want them to be at. If you could switch careers for a week, what would you do? I'll be a pilot for a week. Oh, now I know what I want to add to my bucket list. Remember when I couldn't think of anything to add to my bucket list? And I didn't just think of that now. I've always wanted to learn how to fly a helicopter, but I just forgot. Was it hard making new friends in South Africa, and how did you blend in? Yes, it was hard making new friends in South Africa, and I have not blended in. Like I said before, I'm not really putting myself out there, and all the people that I talk to or have become friends with are either people that are in my class or that I live with. What's your holy grail in makeup or skincare? Honestly, anything gentle is what works for me, and Vaseline, petroleum jelly. So let's move on to the questions on my life as a creative. What runs through your mind while you edit, and did you develop your editing skill by yourself? I don't know how I would explain it, but before I start editing, I have no idea what the video is going to look like in the end. And honestly, most of my ideas come while I am editing. It's only when I actually look through the footage that I just imagine how best to edit this particular portion. But one thing that I know that I pay specific attention to is I don't like when scenes scenes drag on for too long. I make things quick. I like making things quick and straight to the point, like chap 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 chap. Things should just be happening. Did you develop your editing skill by yourself? Okay, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I didn't take any classes or have any mentor or anybody to guide me through the whole editing process. No, because some of the tricks that I learned were not created by me. I actually went and watched other people's videos, saw their explanations on how they achieve certain effects, and that is how I developed what is now my own style. And I feel like I have my own editing style, such that if I edit a video for another channel or another platform and people who watch my videos see that, they'll know that there's something very Mutombo about this video. Where and how did you learn how to draw? Girl, cartoons. I used to like to recreate the characters on paper. That's just how I picked up. Are you going to go back to drawing and designing and creating? Well, I am already back to drawing and designing and creating. If you don't know yet, I have an art Instagram page which is Mutombo Visuals, and I'm going to leave it here on the screen, and go check it out. You might like what you see there. Tell us please if drawing is just your hobby or if you have money making plans for that too. Okay, so for now, drawing is mostly my hobby, but I am slowly turning it into a business, and I don't draw stuff for people for free. What is your motivation in life? Honestly, it's just knowing that God put me here on earth for a purpose, and I just have to do everything within my power to fulfill that purpose. What's your honest opinion about growth on YouTube? The first thing I would say is the hack to growing on YouTube is uploading regularly. The second hack to growing on YouTube is uploading content that will help other people, not content about yourself. I upload content about me, which I know is not everybody's cup of tea, but that is just the content that I want to upload for now. And because of that, I know that my growth on YouTube is not going to be viral or, sudden. And I have come to terms with that. I've accepted that, and that's why I'm putting in so much effort into my editing and into making videos actually very interesting for those who actually care to watch. All right, so now we have the last category of questions, which is my future plans. Are you planning to return home after your studies, or do you prefer starting your career over there? Wow, so many questions on whether or not I plan to return to Cameroon after I finish my master's degree. Honestly, I say yes, I want to go back to Cameroon, but it also really just depends on the opportunities that I have by the end of this program. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Okay, 5 years from now, I'm going to be 31 years old. Always like the corporate world, so I'll probably be working a corporate job with a flourishing YouTube channel, probably married, with either one child or pregnant for my first child. Amen. This is a very interesting one. Can you ever give up your career for YouTube? No. So when it comes to working as an engineer, it's something that I can do even when I'm not in the mood to do that. That's one thing that I learned about myself over the last 3 years. But YouTube is something that I cannot do if I'm not in the right frame of mind. I definitely can film videos where I talk about how I'm feeling down and all of that. But since the choice is up to me, I would rather put out positive content. All right guys, I'm sorry I have to end here. I don't know if you noticed, but it's already dark outside. I've been filming for close to 3 hours now, so I hope you enjoyed this video. My battery died while I was filming, and I had to stop and charge it up for some time before coming back to continue filming, so it hasn't been the smoothest process, but I'm glad we were able to get this done today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any more questions for me, please leave them in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on this Q&A. I hope my answers to your questions were satisfactory. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next Sunday. Wow, this is already becoming very dark, but baby girl, why are you so fine? That was a good question too.